All right, so there was enough news in which I thought it was going to be beneficial to do another props bet video for today. So let's go ahead and get into it. So just looking at the afternoon updates, let's start off with LeBron talking about this because, like as expected, his number went up projection-wise 4 points. It's at 32 now. It was previously at 31. At 31, he was minus 150 odds. So that was a number in which really was too good to pass up on. They're basically saying, Vegas was saying he has a 60% chance to get that over. And if you had looked at what he had done against Dallas earlier on this season, 38 points, you would have said, yeah, that's a really good number. So that was a number that we jumped on. Just it was too good to pass up on. And so I do want to point out the fact that that game is expected to be a high scoring game, still 236, and a close game. So it's not expected to be a blowout. That is still something that you could definitely go out and attack if you choose to do so. But I do just want to point out it is basically now very close to him getting that over. Okay, it's basically an even push, and that's the difference that really 1 point. I mean, that it can make a big difference. Okay, so I just want to call that out for you. And this afternoon video is going to be much more focused on kind of like the DFS side. Like you could also apply this stuff to DraftKings as well, because it's going to be much more that rather than focused on good odds that we're getting, optimal bets. It's going to be focused on chasing, a little bit more less likely outcome. Okay. So it's definitely up to you guys. Like I'm not saying bet LeBron James at 32.5 now. And that's how it goes. But if you chose to do so, I don't mind that. Obviously, he did go off against Dallas. If you were going to do that, I would kind of suggest to stack it with Christian Wood, because those two should go hand in hand. So like Christian Wood went off the last time against the Lakers for 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. So if we look at his PrizePicks props here, his total is set at 31.5. So he basically got their last game just in points, which to me is huge. Okay. And we can see 3 out of the last 5 games has also been able to get that over as well. So that's where in a stack like this, I like it. And I should call out, like Luka was active in that game as well. So it's not like it was just Christian Wood going off because Luka was out. No, Luka was active in that game as well. And Christian Wood went off. So definitely interesting there, I thought. So I do still like the Siakam play to go over 25.5 points, which is what he did the previous game. You could also do that in the first half if you choose to do so. But Vegas still also really likes this one as well. So this is one in which nothing is too like overly high projections wise, isn't overly high of this mark. And Vegas is saying it does have over a 50% chance to hit, but nothing is saying that like it's a lock. It's just saying it's a very strong play that should hit more times than not. It's going to hit, obviously. And that's partially due to the matchup with Charlotte. Now, what I found interesting as the day progressed is I was kind of waiting on a Mason Plumlee line. And the Mason Plumlee line that we got, I was very shocked by. Okay, look at his points, 12.5. He's been able to get that 4 out of the past 5 games. And I would say that's closer to accurate because you look at with Gordon Hayward out and with Kelly Oubre out, like he has kind of just taken on a bigger role. So I'm leaning towards more this Vegas line being wrong. But at the same time, they are saying minus 140. Okay, we rarely see a line like that out there to go under. So it's a very interesting line, I think there, honestly. And I really don't know what to do there. I would say the best logical thing we could do would be to bet the under, and like do a stack like this because it should correlate. And if you are someone that does do both, like maybe then you get plus money for Plumlee to go over. It's a weird one. It just is. Okay, and that's where the prop side of it and the DFS side of it, they're not matching. They're not coming together correctly. I just found that so interesting, and I just wanted to share it. So the next one is that we're going to get into, and this is partially the reason why I wanted to do this video, is looking at the Bucks. So a lot of their players are going to be out. We're looking at Giannis out, Chris Middleton still out, Grayson Allen, Joe Ingles, all are out tonight. Okay, so that actually led to a really terrible game line. And when I started this video, it was actually set at 212. So it's went down a half a point. So just not an appealing game. So because it's not an appealing game, Vegas and PrizePicks is saying that the Bucks players are not going to do well. Okay, but they're still saying that the Miami players are going to do well, even though they have a decent amount of players ruled out as well. So Miami has Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, and Cody Martin out. But if we were to look and compare their players' projections compared to their per 36 with those players off the court for Miami, the difference isn't that great. But if we were going to do that for the Bucks, there's a big edge there. So really the bet on this, and this is kind of one in which I stack, and if I do get it wrong, I apologize. No more doing the Bucks for stacking purposes. Okay, that'd be 3 straight times, and probably 3 straight times in which it was ugly. Okay, and so I'd say we're done with the Bucks, and I have the sign in the back here. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe there's some a bias there because I'm a Bucks fan. But I'll show you guys. So Bobby's points, okay, with Giannis off the court, he averages, and this is per 36. And so we can see he typically doesn't get to 36 minutes. But with Giannis off the court, we can kind of accurately project him to get around 30. Okay. So take this with a grain of salt. We kind of have to take a little bit of the projections away, a little bit. Okay. But given the fact that you got Joe Ingles out, Grayson Allen out, Giannis out, like he does get the most minutes with those players out. Okay. So when he does get those minutes, he typically is getting the over for a lot of these. And it's all right. So his average is 19.5 points, 16 rebounds, 3 assists, and that's per 36. Once again, we can't really accurately project him to get 36 minutes. It's probably going to be closer to 30. But let's just go ahead and apply that. So you could do points and rebounds, and like that's not a bad one. And I like that. So he averages almost 20 points per 36 with Giannis off the court and about 16 rebounds. So let's just bump those down a little bit. He should still be able to get there. What I think is kind of crazy as well is that this difference here between points, rebounds, and assists is not that great. Like you could easily do that as well. So really it's just trying to figure out where we want to attack Bobby on the slate. And the best one actually might be fantasy score. With Giannis off the court, he averages 43 fantasy points per 36. Now, once again, not going to get 36 minutes, and it is a difficult matchup. And so that's the biggest question. It's like, do you believe that Vegas over and under is correct? And how correct is it? How much is it going to affect all these plays? And so to me, I would probably suggest doing 2 out of these 3, but it is a great opportunity because the numbers are great. When you look at like the data per 36, they're extremely low. And these 2 teams haven't met yet, I don't believe, this season. So like it's hard to really properly gauge how the game will go. So looking at Bobby with Giannis off the court, averages 21 points per 36, 7.5 rebounds. So his rebounds do increase, and about 1.7 assists. So I really like kind of points and rebound because already like he's basically there on points per 36 with Giannis off the court. Then you tack on a few more rebounds. That should on paper be the safest one. The tough part is it's the difficult matchup. It's the most difficult matchup on the slate. So that would be the worry, obviously. But I think I like the fact that if he does struggle shooting, he can still almost get there with rebounds. Can't have a terrible night shooting, but given the fact that Giannis is going to be off the court, that should benefit him much more. And like I said, the projections are low here because the game is projected to be low. And then looking at Drew with Giannis off the court, averages 29 points per 36, 6 rebounds, 12 assists. Okay, so we can already just see right off the board that these numbers are all too low when just looking at that data point. So when you combine it with the Vegas score, once again, I want to make that very clear, that's where it gets risky. But really, you could do points, rebounds, and assists. It's probably the one I like the most. You could do fantasy score if you want. It has a huge usage rate with all those players off the court. I keep saying Giannis, it's all of them. So his fantasy point total per 36 with them off the court is close to 50. So that could be an edge. Once again, this game needs to be a higher scoring game than what is projected to be. It probably needs to get into the 220s for these to hit. But at the same time, they do have a decent chance to hit. And if we were trying to run out a stack, I was trying to find one to run it back with for Miami, because obviously if we're trying to project Vegas to be wrong, then you'd want to run it back with someone with Miami, because you have to, obviously. If you could just do these 2, I'd be fine with it. And so it was points, rebounds, and assists. He does average that with Tyler Hero and Kyle Lowry off the court. So it'd be tough to imagine him not getting this over. So once again, we are betting that Vegas is going to be wrong enough on this projection by like 9 points, okay? And to be honest, we're trying to get lucky there. But if it is wrong, these should easily hit is the point. I want to make that clear, okay? Like, this is a risky one, very much based off of trying to say the game script's going to be wrong. But that's it, guys. I don't have like a bet of the day today. That one already came and went. The odds are not in our favor now anymore, and that's kind of why we're doing more of these kind of game script bets. But I do think there is a potential edge there, I should say. And if you guys disagree, you don't have to play them. I think there is, but like I said, there is definitely some risk with the ones that I gave you out in the afternoon video, okay? They do correlate, but at the same time, they worry me. And this is coming off of like 2 really solid nights. So, it's eventually going to come down. We got to play the odds there. So just want to get that out to you. I did think there was useful information in here. So hopefully we do have a good night. If we do, good luck. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.